Hello everyone, I'm going to be bringing you another Pro League of Legends commentary. I figure I started by casting the first game in this set, so I might as well finish it off. I don't know if the set goes to 2 or 3 games, because I have deliberately avoided learning that information. I do know who won the set, but I don't know who won this game. If you are interested in the results of the first game, and you should be, because it was a good game, you can check it out. It should be the video before this one on my channel. I cast it as well. What we're watching here is a rerun of the live broadcast of the official Riot Games commentators who were casting this game live from IEM New York. This is SK Gaming versus CLG. I introduced the teams and the players last game, so I don't think we need to go over that so much again. But anyways, CLG is a very famous American team, and SK is a very famous European team. I believe they're mostly German. This video starts after the ban phase and the first pick. So we're seeing right off the bat that the only changes in the bans that I can see are that SK has banned Gangplank. This is because they don't have first pick this time. Last time they grabbed Gangplank for a first pick. And CLG has spent their first pick on Kassadin, which Ocelote played last game to great effect. So right away we're seeing CLG grab Kassadin and Gangplank be banned. So we won't be seeing those champions on the same team. Oops, I still have the sound on, sorry. So let's jump into this and start the picking phase, counting down. Last game we saw CLG pick up a sort of heel poke composition with Nidalee and Trundle and Caitlyn, and they're going to be, I don't know if they're going to do the same thing. I would expect not. They didn't play to that composition very well. We see Taric and Nocturne be grabbed here. That's interesting to me. Nocturne obviously is a very strong jungler. I think the only really good jungler, I think he's probably one of the 2 best junglers left in the pool right now. The other one I would say would be Lee Sin, although I wouldn't be shocked to see like a Fiddlesticks or something along those lines here. But who knows, they might do something weird. This Taric pick is interesting to me. They ran Taric last game, and it worked really well. They ran a Taric Tristana lane with Ignite, which is sort of non-standard. And it beat a Caitlyn Sona lane, which surprised me. I was expecting Caitlyn Sona to win that lane handily. So clearly Nyph has a good Taric, and is going to be, he's the support player, so he's going to be doing that. These first picks are very interesting because usually teams wait until the last pick, till the late stages of the game, to grab their AP carries, because usually those are the heroes that are most easily countered. Taric is also incidentally a good counter to Kassadin because direct single target stuns really hurt Kassadin. It's also possible they grab Taric to prevent CLG from just using these 2 picks on Caitlyn Taric, which is a very strong lane. But I'm expecting that these picks will mostly be aimed at countering this Kassadin, because if you can shut down the AP carry of a team, then it tends to go very well for you. This Cho'Gath pick, HotshotGG plays more or less exclusively Nidalee and Cho'Gath. Usually they run Cho'Gath with Zilean so that they can have Cho'Gath just charge in and then Zilean ult him after the other team is forced to focus him. But it looks like they won't be running Zilean this game. Here we're seeing Wickd pick up Irelia again. Wickd plays a fantastic Irelia. And we're seeing Vayne picked. Now Taric Vayne is a lane that I'm quite familiar with because Ethan and I play that a lot. And it's a very aggressive lane, but it has some trouble against Caitlyn, so this is an interesting pick to me. I'm going to be watching this with great interest to see how SK are planning to play this, because I can learn a lot for my own gameplay. For CLG, I'd expect them to pick up I mean, they need a support and a jungler. I'm sort of expecting something like Lee Sin, Sona. Those would be, or maybe they'll grab Alistar. Caitlyn Alistar, I think, is a very good lane against Vayne Taric. And you'll see that SK has not picked their AP carry yet. Okay, so it's a Soraka pick. Soraka also very good with Caitlyn, because Caitlyn can just push now. And Rammus, which is an interesting choice as a jungler. That's going to be very... Oh, wait. Okay, they're switching to Trundle. I'm not sure about that Trundle pick. He's good against Irelia, because Trundle's ultimate is very strong against Irelia. And he's a reasonable counter to Nocturne, I think, in general. Whereas... Yeah, I don't know. I thought the Rammus pick was going to be bad, but the Trundle pick, I'm actually not sure why they went that. Soraka, they went just because the global heal is excellent, and the lane will be very strong with Chauster and Elementz doing that. And here we're seeing a Gragas being last picked by SK. The Europeans sort of invented Gragas. They love the Gragas. And we in North America took a while to catch on to just how good he is. Gragas is amazing. He's so strong. One thing that I need to work on as a commentator is I tend to say and a lot. I'm going to be trying to do that less this game. I don't expect I will succeed very well. It's extraordinarily difficult to excise those sorts of speech impediments, really, those bad speech habits from your speech. This is something that I'm going to be focusing on throughout my next several commentaries. Hopefully it works. Like, even in those last sentences, I was having a lot of trouble not inserting those. So we see that people are playing their standard roles. Everyone is on where they should be. Elementz, Soraka. I actually haven't seen Elementz play Soraka a whole lot. I find that he plays a lot of Sona. On the other hand, I think Sona would not have been a very good pick here. Once again, we're going back out to the pro gamer cam, so we're going to skip this part because I don't particularly care about them sitting there staring at their computers, and I'm sure neither do you. You're in here for gameplay. Wow, that's long. Okay, sorry, I skipped the beginning. Okay, so everyone just loaded up. They bought their items. Checking for strange items now. We see Trundle going a Vamp Scepter again. So once again, like the first game, he's going to be probably basing quickly and not going for a fast gank. Similar build on Nocturne. I actually really don't like the Vamp Scepter build on Nocturne. It gives you a faster clear, like a faster wriggles, basically, but it doesn't let you gank early, and I feel like Nocturne's strength is his early level 2, 3, or 4 ganks. Well, one of Nocturne's strengths, obviously. He becomes very strong late game as well. Nocturne's problem this game is that Caitlyn is more or less the only hero that he can dash onto effectively in these fights. Usually the AP carry is another one that you can, but Kassadin, of course, can just blink away. Oh, looks like they're catching out Saintvicious here, and he's going to die. Easy first blood by SK, who roamed down this way. Interesting that CLG didn't ward in the river or anything. They usually place wards around there to prevent exactly that from happening. So that first blood went to Vayne, which is great. Vayne has already based and picked up boots, so that's going to give them a huge lane advantage. And she's not even missing creeps. And because of that, Trundle is going to go start blue instead of double golems. So good sort of reaction by CLG there. That was an odd rupture on those wolves. pulled the wolves out, but I guess they decided that Saint decided not to do them. Oh, early smite there. So he's very confident that he's not getting ganked in the jungle. So these lanes are going to be very interesting. I expect Irelia to beat Cho'Gath handily. Irelia's true damage will chunk Cho'Gath down, and I feel like Irelia out-sustains Cho'Gath as well. Once they hit like 4 or 5, I think Irelia can just dash onto Cho and just push straight onto him. We can see that because of that first blood, SK starts off with a 1k gold advantage. I really love spectator mode for this, and I wish they had real replays. Yeah, already we're seeing Cho'Gath get down to half. It's interesting to me that Cho went with a Doran Ring instead of Claw 5 or something like that against Irelia. But he's getting crushed. He's got half Irelia's CS. And Kassadin, of course, is losing to Gragas, also getting doubled in CS. But you expect Kassadin to lose to Gragas. You just hope that Kassadin gives you more late game, which he'll tend to. Kassadin is a stronger late game hero than Gragas, for sure. It's very rare to see Kassadin win his lane. But a Kassadin who's a fair amount farmed is better than most heroes who are a lot farmed. He just needs to get to a certain critical mass, and then he becomes unstoppably strong. See Hotshot having trouble getting some of those creeps, but Chauster is just going to push the lane out like Caitlyn will tend to do. Going even with Vayne so far. Of course, Vayne has that first blood. And that's just because their lane is so much better. Like, Vayne has boots and pots, so they can be playing very aggressively, but they're losing the lane because Soraka Caitlyn can just push, and then Vayne has to CS under turret. Right away we see a 3-man gank come in, but Wickd flashes the pillar, so that was all for naught. Good try. They need to try to put Irelia behind, and that's something that they failed to do last game, was stop Irelia from just scaling out of control. Nocturne catching out Kassadin here, forcing a flash. That's really, really hard for Kassadin now. He's going to be way behind in this lane, because he's going to have to base probably, or try to get this CS and put himself in danger. Nocturne going to pick up the red. Caitlyn and Soraka getting pushed back. Alright, Irelia is actually having some trouble here now. I'm not sure how that happened, to be honest. I feel like, I guess she just let Cho push too far. But she's running quite low on health. Good CSing under turret. As Irelia, you should literally never miss CS under turret. She just has like perfect skills for getting it all. You saw that Wickd missed exactly 1 CS of that entire wave under the turret, which is skill that I envy. As an AD carry, you often don't have the skills necessary to do that. I mean, aside from the fact that I'm not nearly as good as Wickd, but also playing AD carries, you don't have the instant kill creeps all the time skill that Irelia gets. So you end up spending like a condemn or something to get last hits under turret, and it costs you a lot of mana. It's too bad that Saint had to get so low there, because he's not going to be able to pressure bottom at all, and they would really like for that to happen. Interesting trap placement by Caitlyn in the tri-brush. It's going to stop Nocturne ganks from coming around behind once they push up again. You can also see that there's very standard bottom lane wards there. Kassadin is not yet 6, so they might be able to make something happen, but Snoopeh is mostly going to wander into the jungle and maybe try to make something happen against this Trundle. Unfortunately, he gets caught. I would maybe have stuck around to kill like one wolf or something there, because I don't think no one else can get close. And if you could have picked off the big wolf, that would have been nice, but probably better to play it safe. And here's the problem for Kassadin, is that Gragas can just push. And because Gragas and Snoopeh both have hit 6, they're going to be trying to put some pressure on bottom or mid or something. They should really be trying to make something happen, because they're very strong right now. This very early level 6 on Nocturne is very powerful. And that's what the Vamp Scepter build gives you, is that fast clear. He's also been stealing some XP mid. We can see that Wickd has sent Hotshot back and is getting some free farm time. His CS and Hotshot CS are very even. Gragas is dominating Kassadin. Look at that. He's still doubled his CS, and has just sent him back to heal again. He's going to miss even more CS there. And Vayne is actually beating Caitlyn. And again, that's the power of that first blood. Her items are so much better. And because they sent Kassadin back, it looks like they're going to be able to steal the blue buff. And Taric is roaming up here to do that as well. So this is going to be a 4v3 at best for CLG. And Wickd are easily going to be able to get buff control, forcing a Trundle flash there. Good flash into Contaminate so that the stun duration was also reduced. They got blue on Wickd. Interesting. I would have thought they'd try to get that on Gragas, but I guess they had to burst it down. Oh, no, wait. Oh, Trundle Smite stole it. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, really good job by Saint then. Trading the Smite and Flash for the blue is still probably worth it, so they didn't get it on Gragas. Now, that whole time, unfortunately, Caitlyn was able to basically catch up a little bit on farm, although she didn't do that much. They should have caught up more on farm with a 2v1 bottom lane. But it looks like this Vayne is just too far ahead, scaling upwards. Vayne going even on CS with Caitlyn is pretty good, just because that's a really hard lane. And because Vayne gets strong earlier in the game than Caitlyn does, so they'll probably get more out of it mid-game. Caitlyn, of course, is in the end, will scale better than the Vayne. Taric is actually getting to pick up some CS here, so that'll be nice. He'll get some boots, and then he'll be able to start roaming. Maybe get an early Oracles if he picks up enough CS here while Vayne's out of the lane. It's like even more critical for supports not to miss CS than for carries, because they get so few opportunities to CS, and so the proportional gold from missing one last hit on a support is really very, very high. And often, since they buy gold for 5 items and things like boots to roam and oracles, getting those items early is pretty good. This doesn't mean that you want to sacrifice carry CS for it, because of course you really need that gold on the carries. Like, it's still better on the carries, but when the supports have the opportunity to CS, you get a fair amount out of it, comparatively speaking, relative to the strength that they would have been at otherwise. Hotshot's starting to pull ahead in CS here a little bit, just because he can nuke down the waves. I expect that Wickd will be trying to push him out of the lane pretty shortly. Kassadin still way behind Gragas, but actually keeping the gap closed. Like, I was expecting the gap to widen more, but Kassadin seems to have been hitting most of the waves. We've still seen only that first kill, and that's very characteristic of very high-level play. Everyone's playing very safely. This game has been less exciting than the first one so far, so hopefully it will pick up. I have not watched it at all. Usually around now, teams start making a play for the first dragon, so we'll see some action. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this, but I'm not controlling the camera at all. The thing that I'm controlling is the little white cursor at the center of the screen, not the in-game cursor. Dang, okay. Really nice play by Ocelote. Barreling Trundle in, and Saint was low on mana, but had double buffs. So Ocelote picks up that kill solo with his Ignite and his powerful item set from CFing well. He's got triple Doran Sork boots, so that makes him very strong. And he's gonna get so Ocelote had the blue, because that just expired, and Trundle had the red. Not as good as getting fresh double buffs. However, they're probably going to be able to make something happen for it. Bottom lane, good stun by Nyph, and yeah, SK picks up a double kill. So really strong play. CLG out of position. Because when you get a solo kill like that, it gives your team a huge advantage elsewhere on the map, because they know that it's 4v5, and I expect SK will capitalize on that double kill by picking up Dragon. No, they already did. Okay. The commentators didn't catch that, sorry. So yeah, so they got Dragon, and they got 3 kills, and they will probably get bottom turret right here. No, they got another kill because Saint gets himself in a bad position. However, GG is able to pick off Snoopeh there, but they're getting the turret, so obviously worth it. Oh, wow, okay, they're backing up. They will not pick off GG, just because so low mana. Good exhaust. Oh, GG may be in trouble. Yeah, dang. That red buff picks him off in the end. Okay, and wow. Going against red buff Vayne is brutal, and they're going to be able to get another triple kill, and this game is turning rapidly into a stomp. And there's the turret. So wow, huge swing for SK just by playing really well, and it all sprung from that solo kill of Ocelote taking out Saint mid. Because when you get a kill like that, you can make plays because you know that the other team can only bring to bear a certain number of people, and that you have a free lane and you have free space to roam and move around. So they were freed up by that kill to dive the bottom turret, and then CLG got all split up and then went in at bad times, and they identified that SK was all low on mana, but they failed to identify that it doesn't matter because Vayne with red buff can just right click you. So they did that, and also Vayne had exhaust up for Kassadin, which otherwise they wouldn't have had to. And it was also very good by Panda to not use his exhaust in the dive there. A lot of players will be like, okay, just blow everything to get those kills. And it's the little conservations there that get you a lot of bonus. So really nice, good flash by Hotshot. He had like a quarter of a second to flash there, so really good reflexes. Panda has picked up his cleaver, so he's probably the strongest thing on the map right now. Vayne with cleaver is once Vayne gets cleaver, she gets incredibly powerful and can play very, very aggressively. Panda is 5-0-2 at the moment. And Ocelote picks up another kill bottom lane, just another solo kill. CLG really falling apart here. I'm actually pretty confident in calling this game for SK like right now. That said, I'll probably make a fool of myself when CLG stages a miraculous comeback. But this game has so far not been nearly as back and forth as the last one. You see an 8k or like a 7k gold advantage for SK, and they're relentless. They're not letting up. They're pressuring every lane. Taric is roaming. You see he got an early oracles, very good. So CLG is really on the back foot. They have no vision. They're down on kills. They're down on gold. They're down on strength. Ocelote getting maybe a little bit too aggressive here. He may go down if Vayne can't get in time, but she does. And here they're just going to be able to push down this turret with no problems whatsoever. I really don't like Cho running Ignite and not Teleport. I feel like Ignite doesn't help Cho very much. And having a top lane Teleport is so strong. I mean, if they'd had a Teleport there, then that whole bottom lane thing would have been completely different, because Hotshot could have teleported in during that dive, and they'd have gotten like a triple kill for no deaths. Or, because SK are good, they wouldn't have dove there if there was a teleport on the other team. But that would have kept CLG in this game. That's why I think it's really important to run teleport on your top lane. It lets you make mistakes elsewhere on the map and have them not crush you. And it lets you also put pressure top lane while doing things elsewhere on the map, like delaying dragons. And we saw a beautiful example of that from CLG at the beginning of last game. The two teams are sort of just going back to farming mode. Farming mode, of course, favors SK considerably right now because they're ahead, so they're going to keep getting ahead. Farming mode gives you sort of incremental advantages over time if you're ahead. Now, it's better for CLG than fighting mode. CLG doesn't want to force fights, but SK is probably not ahead enough to just go force fights at turrets. So what they're doing is they're waiting for dragons, because CLG can't initiate on this, and they're going to get another dragon and get further ahead, and they're going to have map control, like partial map control, more or less. This area of the map is all SKs, because they have turrets. So they're going to be able to get dragons and get things. Now we're seeing a Baron attempt from CLG. That's probably a very smart decision. They saw SK bottom, and they knew that they didn't have vision on it, so they just went for it. Really good rupture there by Hotshot, and they're going to be able to take out Candy Panda for the killing spree gold. So good fight by CLG. Well identified that they should force that fight. Unfortunately, Nocturne is able to pick him off. I don't know why they all split off down this way instead of off down this way and stop that from happening. CLG getting split up a lot in these team fights in this series. Of course, CLG are primarily known for their incredible prowess as like mechanical players. They're very, very good at laning and at just casting their skills at the right time and stuff. I feel like their communication as a team may need some work for them to not get split up and stuff in those fights. That said, they're more or less the oldest and most established team in League of Legends. So, they're pretty good. Candy Panda CSing under turret. Oh, he gave up that creep. I don't know why he gave that one up, but he missed one. Tisk tisk. I, of course, never miss creeps as Vayne. They're giving GG that blue buff, of course. You want your blue buff on your AP carry, shockingly. And of course, blue buff Kassadin is very, very strong. Kassadin is, unfortunately, they lost mid lane just so hard that Gragas has spiraled out of control. So we see Gragas has 173 CS to Kassadin's 84, and that's really hard to come back from. Similarly, Chauster is 0-3 at the moment, and I don't like that he only went a single Doran Blade. I feel like that has contributed to him being 0-3. Chauster, as a player, tends to rush those late game items a lot, and I feel like if that's not going to cost you CS or deaths, then okay, but against any reasonable player, and especially against a Taric Vayne lane, that's going to cost you CS and deaths. Oh, nice rupture preventing maybe a flash kill on GG there. But SK have picked off Soraka, so with CLG having no heal, they can either just go for it, or they can just sort of poke them down and eventually take the turret. Looks like they're going the latter route. Candy Panda taking too many turret hits there. Nice try on that barrel by Ocelote, but he's actually going to get himself killed for it. Now, and since GG is back from healing, they're going to be able to pick off a couple kills here, I think, CLG on the retreat. With that, good dodge of the Rupture by Candy Panda and Wickd, both juking very effectively. I don't know why GG isn't blinking up and getting slows. He has blue buff, so it wasn't mana issues. That was odd to me. I mean, I guess Irelia could have turned in stunned, but if Irelia had turned in stunned, there'd have been 3. It's possible they didn't want to chase too far so that they could come over here and do this Baron. And this is another good decision by them. If they get this, it puts them back in the game. Now, SK have 4 there, but the 4 are quite low from that chase. So CLG are just going to turn, and they're going to instantly take out Nyph, who actually takes longer to go down than he should have there. And that actually hurt CLG a lot. Chauster manages to take out Vayne, but here's Ocelote, and Soraka's gotten split off. Wickd has not gone down yet because they just don't have the ranged DPS to do it, and yeah, they're going to give up Saint here as well. Brutal turnaround in that fight, Ocelote getting back right on time to clean up there. And I think it was just that Chauster needed to hit. Chauster, I'm going to actually go rewatch that fight real quick. So here we are setting up for it. Okay. So they hit Nyph with that, with the Rupture. They immediately pillar, although that's not the best pillar. And Chauster right there misses the Q. If he'd hit that Q, they could have turned much faster instead of having to have Trundle chase down against Taric there. So missing the Q, I think, cost them that fight. Because they had to kill Taric there, or he could have turned in and gotten a second stun, which would have obviously won the fight for SK. But yeah, no, missing that Q was brutal. It just took them that split second too long to burst down Taric, and now they're going to be way behind. Hotshot clearing this giant wave top, trying to catch back up. The casters have moved the CS screen away, so now I can't see what's going on. I guess to watch that team fight. But I'd like to check everyone's items. I see they're checking everyone's items manually. Great. Interesting on that Elysia's Miracle on Cho'Gath. You almost never see that. But I guess he felt he needed dodge boots and some tenacity, so he upgraded his Philostone into that. I don't really like Hotshot's build here. Obviously, Frozen Heart's very good on Cho'Gath and against Vayne. Oh, okay. He feasts it to prevent the Might Steal. Probably a good decision. In fact, definitely a good decision. Wickd dodging yet another Rupture. Really good, just like perfect movement from him. Wicked's an extraordinarily talented player. And has just an absolute mastery of Irelia. Chauster is having to build back up his Bloodthirster stacks before they can even think about fighting again, and that's the problem with Bloodthirster, is that those stacks take a long time to build up. And that's actually what I really don't like about it in solo queue, is that it's very hard to get your team to give you that time to build up, because the team doesn't remember that you need to get at least 30-ish CS after dying before you're useful again. So they'll nuke down waves and stuff that you really, really needed for that CS. That's one of the reasons that I tend to go high edge. We can see that SK has no wards on Baron, but they do have a CV at the moment. CLG are really looking to just try to take this Baron when SK is not looking. At this point in the game, they're just sort of hoping that SK makes a mistake. They do manage to get that blue buff for GG there. And this is actually a good fight for CLG, well placed. Good dash by Nocturne though, and SK is just so far ahead. I think they're going to be able to pick this off. Yeah, and we're watching that all go down. Vayne tumbles into a corner and then gets blocked by a nice pillar, so she's not able to pick up that extra kill, but they're going to be able to back up in Baron. Once again, I'm going to rewatch that team fight and talk about this more in depth. So it starts with GG casting his last cooldown, so he doesn't have a pulse right now. They once again blow a lot on Wickd, which I'm not sure I like, and then a good dash by Nocturne onto GG zones out Chauster and Elementz because he puts them in this little passage here. So Chauster and Elementz were forced to focus Nocturne, who's pretty tanky right now, which let the whole of SK, especially Gragas, who's a very long-range hero, put out a lot of damage for free. So now SK are going to back up and they're going to grab this Baron. Snoopeh tanking. But CLG are... Oh. Nice too. I think that was a flash stun, probably. But unfortunately, they weren't in position. However, with Candy Panda down there, they're going to be able to take out Saint. Saint doing a really good play there, and oh wow, wow. Okay, I want to watch that again. That was really sweet. So Chauster's running down there. So Candy Panda could be running up to cut off Trundle, but Trundle turns around, which is a good play by Saint. So Vayne runs down there to be like, oh, fuck this, I'm going to kill Chauster. They exhaust each other, having had that up from the last fight. And then Vayne is actually able to escape those creeps, turning around to lifesteal when that last creep shot would have killed him. So really cute play by Candy Panda there, just squeezing out one extra kill. Now once again, CLG, it looks like are going to probably have to try for the Baron here. Nice. They're going to pick off Ocelote. Oh, wow. That dash. Crushing Hotshot's silence. That's brutal. And Ocelote lives. Oh. That's a tragedy for CLG. And yeah, at this point, SK are probably going to try to force a Baron fight because the last one went well for them, so why not, right? And they're going to be able to pick off this Baron and then push in, or force a fight and then push in. Top lane keeps pushing, and Hotshot keeps having to run up here and clear it. Not that that's awful because he's getting a lot of CS from it. He's up to 204, so he's staying steady with where SK is at, but SK's solos are just way ahead, and poor Bigfatjiji is down at 98 CS. He's got less than the junglers. And that's what really killed them this game, is Kassadin is just so crippled. You're doing an interesting split push with Ocelote down here. It's interesting that they'd send Gragas to split push. He can clear waves very quickly, but he also is one of their best sort of poking heroes who can prevent CLG from just taking Baron. I guess at this point they figure they're strong enough that CLG can't take Baron 5v4 no matter what, and they should send their hero who clears waves the fastest to go split push, because now CLG are forced to transition to bottom where they lose an inhib, and probably 2 inhibs even. And here SK, I suspect, are just going to transition middle. They'll probably even tank this turret. Oh no, sorry, I thought the second tier mid turret was still up for some reason. But of course it's not. So they're going to transition top, where they won't tank the turret because CLG have had enough time to transition in, but of course they have a giant wave, so they should easily be able to take down this turret just by poking them down with barrels. They don't have Vayne. Vayne was busy stealing red buff, and now Vayne's going to go split push. Really clever play by SK, taking buff control, which is very strong. I forget who it was who made the point that if you think about the buffs in terms of gold value, they're ridiculous. Like, the amount of cooldown reduction that you get from blue buff is like 800 gold, plus infinite mana, which you can't even price. And red buff gives you the damage over time, which is like 40 damage-ish, which is like a BF sword, plus the slow, which is like a frozen mallet. Red buff is like having, like a whole 1200-ish gold item or something. Maybe 1400 gold worth of items, for the time that you've got it on. And if you think about it in that respect, you realize why it's so important to control the buff. So they're slowly poking down this turret. I would have liked maybe to see Vayne sit in that corner and get like 2 shots off while Ocelote zoned with a barrel here. I feel like they could have gotten some extra free damage there. But hard to make those calls when you're, like, much harder to make those calls when you're playing than when you're watching from omniscient third person. I guess Wickd also wasn't there, so if it turned bad, they would not have been able to capitalize on that. It's just that if they don't have Vayne do that, oh, brutal shots against Saint there. He's not tanky at all. What's he got? Oh, wow, he doesn't even have his Aegis finished. Yeah, I was just saying if they don't do that, it will take them a very long time to take out this turret. But it looks like what they're doing is trading creep waves and then forcing CLG back by Vayne hitting them, and then Panda runs in and gets like 2 shots off while tanking the turret, and then backing up and just getting healed by Taric. So it's totally free turret damage, because turret damage is permanent and champion damage is not, especially when you have a Taric. Meanwhile, continuing to pressure all the lanes. And they will slowly be able to pick down these turrets. They may transition out of here for the dragon, which spawned. Yeah, it looks like Vayne is going to go pick up dragon solo, while the others take control of CLG's blue buff, and they can't stop this. Oh, okay, so they leave the blue buff. I guess CLG were running more aggressively than they liked, but they get the dragon, which is even more important. So they're probably going to send a couple shopping. Taric's already gone shopping, and Vayne's going to go shopping, and the other 3 will prevent the Baron. Oh, I don't actually like having 3 back there. I feel like CLG could maybe have rushed a Baron attempt during that time. But now Vayne has Triforce, Cleaver, Banshee Veil. I never get Triforce on Vayne. Maybe I should try that. Like, Cleaver into Triforce. I usually would go Cleaver into Phantom Dancer. Or Last Whisper or something like that. We see Irelia with Last Whisper, Frozen Mallet, Atmas. We see Gragas with this sort of eclectic mixture of builds. Obviously the Void Staff is great. Taric has a Shirelia's rather than an Aegis, and he's getting this Blasting Wand. I don't know what for, but probably a Death Cap eventually. I would maybe like to see an Aegis on Taric, just because an Aegis is really good on supports, and Aegis is just a really good item in general. CLG are getting mid-turret because SK have spread out too much, I think. But it looks like SK are just going to force this fight with a bunch of their teammates nowhere nearby. And it looks like they're going to win just fine. Both AD carries immediately getting exhausted. And yeah, so they pick off Kassadin. They knock a whole bunch back, and triple kill for Wickd. We're going to watch that again real quick, just to see what happened. So here's CLG grouping up to push on towards mid-turret, because they see that Vayne and Gragas are both out of position. As soon as they group up, we're going to see Gragas start to transition top, and Gragas' map movement. Gragas' map movement is very quick. So here, Wickd decides to just run in. He jumps onto Elementz. Nocturne dashes onto Elementz, and so Soraka's down instantly. They once again explode the ultimate on Irelia. Nocturne is able to chase down Caitlyn after the exhausts go down, and then Wickd is just able to dash around and clean up, because they all get clustered up. And that was just SK have like a 20k gold advantage, so it was obviously advantageous for them to pick even a bad fight. Like, that wasn't, positioning wise, that was not a good fight for them, but any fight that they could force they would win, and they'd win the game. So CLG gave them that fight, and that's game. Soraka has spawned, but obviously Soraka cannot stop this. And so that's the GG, and because this was a 3-game set in the semifinals of IEM New York, which was played a couple weeks ago, we're seeing SK move on to the finals. I might cast the finals, I might not, I don't know. I'm going to see how successful this series is. We see Freak and, I forget who this is, chatting away. That game was just very one-sided, I felt. That CLG misplayed a bunch of the early stuff, and it led to things just spiraling out of control, and mid lane got crushed. Gragas just dominated Kassadin, and that's why teams tend to wait to pick their AP carries until late, because you can counter it like that, and they did. They countered it by picking on-target stuns, and by picking Gragas, who just ruins Kassadin in lane. And at the end of the game, Kassadin has like 107 CS to 251 on Gragas. Just not even remotely comparable. They're galaxies apart. And also, I feel like CLG should have run teleport, or were playing as though they were running teleport. I believe they usually do run teleport, but because they weren't, they just ended up in bad fights early in the game as well. So that's what cost them the series. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my casting this Pro League of Legends series. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to comment, rate, and subscribe. I've gotten, on my last video, I think the first comment is, "You deserve more views," and I agree, I deserve more views, because I'm amazing. And you guys are amazing for watching me. So yeah, tell your friends, anyone who you think might enjoy the video, let them know. And, cheers, GG.